Hello everyone. Greetings once again, this time from Dubai. I'm now closer to some of you, further from some others. Uh, wherever you are and we are together to provoke and be provoked and to engage and to be engaged. Never to preach and never to prescribe. Uh, in your own unique ways. Uh, we believe you have all that is to evolve and prosper. So let's make more mindful decisions and shape more meaningful lives. Let's choose to create a more fulfilling entrepreneurial journey. As usual, uh, we're going to do the wake-up call for about 15 minutes or so on a quick single topic that we'll drill down on. Today, our conversation will be around the conundrum of uncertainty. Then we'll have a quick Q&A session, and we're delighted to have Mary with us on the hot seat right after a quick break. Let's get started. Um, Last wake-up call, we focused on courage, um, and we discussed how courage is really um, uh, the main or a very critical human quality. Courage is the virtue that essentially fuels all other virtues. Um, it's the force behind movement and agility. It is the connector of innovative ideas and intentions to action and impact. Um, I suggested that the limit of all of our potential is the limit of your potential. Uh, what we can become tomorrow uh, is the limit of our ability to be courageous today. But courage can turn into stupidity. Courage can turn into stupidity really quick and without us knowing. Um, Courage does not address or solve the conundrum of uncertainty. In fact, uh, if not careful, when faced with uncertainty, our stubbornness can lead to very bad decisions, misguided courage, you can call it. Uncertainty is a lot more than not knowing. It's very different than risk. Very different than risk. Risk is about known probabilities. Uncertainty is about unknowns, unstable odds. Um, Risk is kind of less risk, less kind of less scary um, because it's about scenarios and probabilities, about a level of confidence that we can potentially build um with with awareness, with calculation. Um, but uncertainty is about unmeasurable unknowns, about enigmas and mysteries. You see, when you when you face uncertainty, at times it feels like a kite um, dancing in a hurricane. Uncertainty makes us anxious, makes us puzzled, makes us confused. Um, and that's kind of why we all like certainty. That's why we like certainty, because it gives us that comfort. But if you really think about it, in fact, the future has always been uncertain, and we only estimate certainty so that we can box or try to fit uncertainty into our comfort zone and feel in control. Um, to avoid anxiety, to avoid nervousness, to avoid the unknown, and oftentimes to avoid making a decision. Uncertainty drives a kind of a wait and see mode because we don't have a defined scenario to measure, uh, and uh, and the odds are unclear. The odds to choose from are unclear, and choices are kind of muddy and convoluted. They're also unclear. You know, uncertainty is defined as mistrust, ambiguity, skepticism, concerns to worry about, a conundrum that complicates decision making. It's source of problem, right? A source of problem. Uh, you know, the fact is, innovation lives in unknowns and uncertainty. And isn't that the business of entrepreneurs? Certainty is the biggest entrepreneurial sin. It kills curiosity and creates false hope. We've had conversations about false hope, and actually, one of the conversational collections kind of, I think, digs deeper into false hope. In business and in life, when you assume certainty, you leave no room for creativity. Yes, you can improve processes based on defined risks and known probabilities, but but uh, but you limit creativity and innovation. Uncertainty comes in different forms, and they come from both inside of us and the outside world. Um, let's look at outside uncertainties. They come from the industry, the competitors. They may come from the government. They may come from our friends or colleagues. Um, they trigger stress. They trigger stress, fear, and as I said, anxiety, because we can't control them or must actually quickly adapt to a situation that we're not comfortable with. Um, let's think of a couple of examples. Think of AI and the way things are in these days, how it's evolving, how it's changing, how it's kind of unknown to us. We make guesses, but we can't put necessarily a defined probability of outcomes on it. So the risk is also kind of muddy. Think of election results in some countries and how they could change perspectives and views. Think of wars. Think of COVID. Um, think of unexpected product introduction by a competitor. Um, all sourced externally. Then we have the very complicated internal uncertainty. Very complicated internal uncertainty because they're uh, they're conceived, created, um, or just simply imagined by us. Excuse me. Internal uncertainties are rather complicated. There are unknowns caused by our own emotions, assumptions, decisions, or experiments or experiences. And they trigger excitement or worry. Again, anxiety. They because the outcome depends entirely on us and our choices. Um, Apologies again. Um, think of getting married, having kids, starting a new business, starting a new job, moving to a new city. Separate to to really deal with uncertainty, we have to separate risk from uncertainty first. Some sort of allergies these days. Um, to to really deal with uncertainty, we have to separate risk from uncertainty first. To deal with uncertainty, we need flexibility, we need experimentation. We have to elevate um, and evaluate with multiple lenses. That means changing our frame of reference constantly and rapidly and often. We should also develop some what I would call logical or cognitive guardrails, which is has a lot to do with killing pessimism. Now we could talk about this in the Q&A session if you like, but being negative is actually being a pessimist is actually a lot worse than lacking optimism. There's studies about it, and it's very impactful. Um, so in short, and before we end the session, in short, to be dynamically aware, to shift your mindset from prediction to preparation is the way to deal with uncertainty. Um, and here's an idea I'd like you to think about. Um, when you were born, you had no notion of problems. Everything was externally and even internally uncertain, but they were not problems. They were not conundrums. Um, Uncertainty had no meaning, basically. So you learned, you adjusted, you evolved. Perhaps, perhaps you could consider doing that now. It's a little more difficult, but uh, but that's one option to deal with uncertainty. So with that, we're at time. We can drill down on different topics and expand on this based on the questions, and I see we already have a few. First one is from SH. What is the role of the ecosystem and I guess it's surrounding, it says surrounders, surrenders, in case of known unknown situations? Well, obviously, as I mentioned, there are trigger points that are external, trigger points and that create uncertainty. The environment is certainly one of them. Um, Something happens that it is unexpected and you haven't planned for uh, in your environment. You don't know, but the business has some issues and it trickles down to you. I really apologize again. Uh, there are, as you had mentioned in the question, there are unknown unknowns and there are known unknowns. Known unknowns are things that are more connected to risk because they are known. We don't know what the outcome would be, but we can put a probability of that event occurring, and then we could have a series of plans for the different outcomes that could happen. Unknown unknowns are things that are truly unpredictable, uncertain, and they happen again every day in our lives. In essence, life is uncertain, but we try to kind of contain it in these buckets based on our own comfort zone so that we can evaluate it. What do you do with it? I think is the question, not that it exists. And what you do with it is this notion that of awareness again, and I go back to this idea of awareness, of mindfulness, which is not just in our head or based on our emotions or our biases, but it includes that. It includes being aware of our environment, so that we don't have to radically pivot, but we dance with changes in times. We read the tea leaves. Uncertainties are happen without plan, but uncertainties are almost guaranteed. They will happen. They're part of life. So it's again about this notion that of being awareness of constantly changing our frame of reference so that we can have some sort of a preparedness as well as to prediction of things that are uncertain. I hope that answered it. Alfred, what signals help you distinguish between a temporary setback and a strategic pivot point? Huh. Um, where do I begin? There has been many, many situations that I've been in, and I certainly have not uh, caught all the signals at the right time. But the signals that you could see are basically a combination of things that you would feel that a situation is not what has been expected to be. I'll give you an example of an uncertain situation that happened within the past week. As I mentioned, I'm in Dubai. One of the companies I'm on the board of is going public in the UK market. They have their initial IPO next Tuesday. And as this process was moving forward, last week, the British uh, government announced a change in the parameters of tax benefits and taxations and structures of investments by large investors, institutional investors in public companies. That significantly changed the dynamics of every aspect of the negotiation, every aspect. Uh, did we see the signal? We did not. Should we have? Yes. There had been conversations in the public and in publications, but we didn't see it. We didn't consider it. We got so excited about this thing happening. Now, were we able to manage it? Yes, we were able to manage it through a series of actions and decisions and impacts on the structure of the actual IPO. But that's one that where we specifically did not see the unpredictability that we were facing, but it had signals written all over. Okay, how do you differentiate fear that is proactive from fear that is limiting? Fear that is limiting and fear that is proactive. Um, Let me take proactive as meaning productive. That means fear that can produce some outcomes that is beneficial. Um, First of all fear can be beneficial. Uh, Fear. is an alarm system, as some of you may know, and again, I've talked about it in conversation collections and other discussions we've had. Fear is, in my opinion, an alarm system. And this notion of being fearless is absolutely nonsense. We had a conversation um with one of the expert circle conversations about that, and that topic came up. Uh, Being fearless means you're ignorant of what could happen. And often fear is generated by either some things that are uncertain for us, as I mentioned, emotionally, we may imagine things that are not even there, or complicate life in some form or shape. Or it could be based on something that we see that there's a risk and has a consequence that we don't like the consequence. So fears are limiting when we ignore uh, to see them, and we ignore to explore the possibilities and the probabilities about them if they are risk driven, or the possibilities or the alternative, if you would, preparedness factors if they're unpredictable. So how do you differentiate between them? I think it's less about differentiating because, again, some of these things we want to have a very nice bucket of things and say, okay, this one fits within here, so check mark, and this one fits within here and check mark. It's less about differentiating them than being aware of them, and as they unfold, you will realize the potential impact and if it's actually real and what it points to. Uh, We have a few more minutes. We can dive into some other things. I love this. This one I love. I said, if certainty never arrives, will you choose to move? My friend, certainty will never arrive. Certainty has never arrived. Certainty is an illusion. And the choice not to move is certainly a choice of stagnation. Uh, and I like the fact that you use the word choose to move. Um, uh, if certainty is an illusion, uh, uncertainty is a fact. Certainty is an illusion because it deals with the past. It doesn't deal with the future. To choose to move, you have to move into a future. And necessarily the future is not an extension of the past. If you look at your life, you could see how what you may have expected when you went to school, when you got married, or you had a boyfriend or a girlfriend, when you took a class and you expected some outcomes, when you had friends, when you started a business, and how it changed and evolved over time. Um, you had maneuvered through uncertainty all your life, but unfortunately, there's a lot of hoopla, and we're trained in classes, and this is going back to this idea that differentiating skills and skillfulness. In school, they give us cases and outcomes. They give us math problems that always resolve to a single answer. But in life, that's not the case. In business, that's not the case. So we are trained, as you can see, to look for certainty before we make decisions. And 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 we assume those certainties because it is not certain. We assume certainties and we make those decisions. But if we are aware that we are making those decisions based on uncertain parameters, we are much better prepared to deal with the consequences and setting the direction that is more meaningful and beneficial to us. Let's see if we can take a couple of more. We have 3, 4 minutes. Um, can you expand on why negativism is more harmful than lack of optimism? What is the difference? Uh, when we're optimist, we assume an outcome, maybe based on some facts, maybe based on hope or false hope, but there is often a probability attached to it that it will not happen. We could be very optimistic about something happening, but that doesn't have any guarantees of it happening. The reverse side is, if we are negative about something, we are giving it an extra weight that that negative thing would happen because we are a part of it happening. And there are a number of research documents, and you can search them. I don't exactly remember the source, but somewhere north of 70% of the time, north of 70% of the time, it is our pessimism that influences an outcome, not our optimism. It is our pessimism, because we begin to behave and fail to look at options and fail to change our frame of reference and fail to become aware of alternatives when we are a pessimist and when we view things negatively. So optimism is great as long as we have hope placed in the right places. But negativism is certainly a lot more harmful to us. So let me see if I can take one more question. How do you stress test your assumptions when you are uncertain about a direction? Now, as I said, a few things are critical. Uh, uh, first is preparedness. So thinking or having this notion of the consequences and the things that could happen, which comes from awareness. And again, awareness is something that we also, as internally, have an effect to it. If a situation happens that would make us sad or happy or fearful or courageous or any of those factors, it certainly would impact us. So one stress test is looking at the potential consequences and mapping it to our internal thing, and then considering the biases that the lenses that we look those things through. Another way of stress testing is not necessarily the uncertainty, but the results of the experiments that we may take on in order to experience that uncertainty and see how it unfolds. So those could be two good approaches. With that, let's take a break and then meet with Mary.
Every other Friday, our members show up for the wake-up call. It's where fresh ideas spark, perspectives shift, and you walk away with something new to think about. And then we roll right into the hot seat, where real challenges get unpacked and real breakthroughs happen. But here's the secret: the wake-up call, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Once you step inside Anabasis Academy, you'll unlock your full dashboard, which is your gateway to everything the Academy offers, all in one place. It starts with the archives of every wake-up call and hot seat we've ever done. So if you miss a live session, or you want to relive that one insight that stuck with you, it's all right there, ready when you are. You'll also find our conversational collections, curated deep dives on powerful themes, weaving together different perspectives so you can explore them at your own pace. Then there's the expert circle, in-depth discussions with accomplished leaders and innovators, sharing the kind of hard-earned wisdom you won't find in a book or quick video. And of course, the public square, the heart of our community where ideas keep evolving even after the calls end, and where conversations often spark entirely new insights. You can even take all of this value with you on the go through downloading our mobile app. So the Academy is always at your fingertips. So if you've enjoyed what happens here live, just wait until you see the rest. We can't wait to welcome you inside.
And I can't wait to welcome Mary to the hot seat.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Let me see if I can change this to gallery so people can see us side by side. It's a
Okay.
little, it's a little easier. So,
Okay.
Mary, welcome to the hot seat. We certainly appreciate you giving a chance to us to explore your mind and mindfulness and your experiences and your challenges.
Thank
Welcome.
you. Thank you. Thank you. It was exciting listening to you talk about uncertainty.
So, what do you think about uncertainty?
I love it. I love it. It was very insightful what you said about the only thing certain is the past, right? So when you look at data and stuff like that, that's the past, and certain uncertainty is the only fact, which is true,
So
and
let
how
me
you
let
behave.
yeah, so a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of people say, oh, it's intuition or it's experience that drives you to go into. What do you think about this notion of intuition?
I believe that intuition is really operating from the subconscious, right? Because as we go through life, there's just so much stuff that we deposit into our subconscious that we don't even realize. And so we just, whenever, the way I look at intuition is whenever we access, whether it's insight or wisdom or experiences, whatever we've deposited into that subconscious, when we access it, that's, what most people refer to as intuition.
You know what I love about it is the word deposit. So here's the thing. By intuition is nothing but a collection of all of our experiences. Maybe we have seen it, maybe we've seen it through some others, maybe we have interacted, maybe we've read it somewhere, maybe all of that, and that is not conscious to us or seen on that chart or graph
Hmm.
that's in front of
Hmm.
us. All
Yes.
of that collectively is a depository of actually data.
Hmm.
And it's mixed in with, okay, I did this and I was afraid, or I did this and it worked, and positives and negatives of our experiences. That's kind of blended into it. So this
Hmm.
idea of activating your mindfulness is again very, very connected to this accessing your intuition as well. And that's how
Absolutely.
you deal with uncertainty.
Yes.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
So
Hmm.
tell us about your business, Mary, and then let's dive into some of the challenges you've had and how you've maneuvered around it, or perhaps still are swimming in it, or drowned and then got out and got a new life.
Absolutely. So I'm Mary Spio. I'm CEO of Seek, and Seek is a skill sharing platform. We look at it as social media evolved, as where you can connect to others that are doing what you would like to do or where they are, where you would actually like to go. So, for example, I can connect if I want to figure out how do I make it into the NBA. I can connect directly to Dwayne Wade and learn from him through interactive video, but also through his AI digital twin, which is able to instantly allow you to, communicate and learn from him. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. But basically, we are a skill sharing platform, and it's evolving social media to where it could be a lifeline for learning, for earning, and for doing a lot more than just, showboating.
Yeah, give me tell me more. So I'm trying to get my arms around it or my head around it, however you want to put it. So someone joins your community. Excuse me.
Mhm.
I've got to have you talk more, me less with this coughing business, but I can't. I'm old and talkative. I can't control myself, I guess. I don't know. Uh, so uh, someone joins your community and
Mhm.
says, "I have this skill." So this skill could be what? It could be plumbing, or does it
It could
have to
be,
be
yes.
singing, or does it have to be what? What? It's a
No, it could be
task that
anything. Mhm.
Now, give me the anything. What is the anything?
Yes,
It's
it
like,
could be anything. So, for example, we have musicians on there. We have the likes of Bon Jovi. We have
yeah,
Dwayne Wade, who's an NBA Hall of Famer, and he has a Celebrity Sports Academy where other, like LeBron's coach and others come on there and they connect with people that are trying to figure out their next step. We
I see.
also have, Skyforce on there, which is all about getting into emerging careers like,
Okay, got it.
advanced capability.
Okay, so you connect people who have some level of quote unquote skills or capabilities, and
Mhm.
are they then communicating as in a form of teaching or providing coaching, or are they charging for interactions, or are they just collecting followers? How does that work?
All the above. So, for example, they can teach through posts, which we call micro learning. They can teach through
Hmm.
very short posts. They can teach through videos, live streams, and then most importantly, they can connect through the digital twins. Because what we find is a lot of times people are looking for someone that they can talk to at their point of need. And so by being able to connect even through the digital twins, they're able to instantly access guidance from someone's AI digital twin when they're
Got
not
it.
online. Yeah.
Got it, got it. So you've trained this, or you've got some sort of a form of Q&A fed into it that the digital twin would do it. So maybe the digital twin, maybe I should do this. The digital twin would probably be smarter than I would, huh? Pre-canned stuff. So how do you make money?
So how we make money is through subscriptions. So you have subscriptions to the various, creators that are on there, subscriptions to the various, just to the platform because it has a variety of content that's on there. That's one. Upskilling. So creating, for example, with Baptist Health, we created a nursing residency program for nurses to be able to connect and learn. Our platform is also very interesting in the fact that you can uh, consume content in a variety of ways, not just in 2D. You can also consume
Mm,
content in 360 or even in VR. And because of that ability and flexibility, we've been able to team with a lot of companies. And how we, generate revenues through subscriptions, the upskilling, and also through the marketplace.
phenomenal, very interesting. So before we get to the challenges, because I'm sure getting a social media platform up and getting people to sign up is not an easy task to do. Before we get there, how many people do you have in there? You mentioned some big names. Obviously, they bring people with them. But what is the traction, and how long have you been around?
So we've been around for a while. We have 7 million people. So we have 7 million people that have signed up over the lifetime. And we've been around, thank you. We've been around since 2016. So
2016. So
2016,
how
yeah.
so how did you do digital twins in those days, or is that an evolution of the?
Digital twins is an evolution. And the digital twin actually learns from everything that they post, everything that they share. So we're not scraping content, off the web.
Got it.
So our AI, technology actually learns from internally, it has parameters within which it delivers that answer. And they put insights and other types of information that you wouldn't find, in Google. So for
Yeah.
example, going back to the trying to get into the MBA example, you wouldn't know where to go for tryouts. You wouldn't know about collective bargaining agreements. There are a lot of things that they wouldn't be able to put on social media or LinkedIn or elsewhere, but they're able to put it here and people can tap into and access it. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. That's wonderful. Okay, so 2016 to now, it is a lifetime.
Yeah.
So tell me, how did you start, and what, give me a few challenges that you've had along the way.
Sure, absolutely. My background, I'm a space engineer, and I worked on, I've always loved the entertainment and streaming and all of that. And so I had a technology that I sold to Boeing on streaming, and then I went to work for Boeing doing content, streaming over satellite, movie streaming over
Mm.
satellite. We had
Wow.
clients like Lucasfilm and so on and so forth. So after that, after my technology was acquired, I started to kind of look around and see what I wanted to do. And one of the things that was important for me was being able to connect people to what it is that they're you know, to the next step, right? And this comes from, at 17, I was living on my own in New York. I knew that, I was meant for something more, but I just didn't know how I was going to start. I just knew that I had to. I met this colonel, retired colonel on a bus. He talked to me. I ended up joining the Air Force. Long story short, I became a space engineer. And so this is my way of scaling that contact, of saying that, not being able to talk to anyone about what you want to be able to do, or having to send 100 messages on LinkedIn. Maybe you get reported for spam. So this was a way that people can actually connect to those who are where they want to go, especially those going into non-traditional careers or careers that don't exist. So that's how this has evolved. It started
Isn't
as,
that isn't that amazing that some great ideas come from personal experiences?
yes,
And I
absolutely.
bet you that has helped you at 3 o'clock in the morning, many nights when things got a little challenging. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So
When it
what's
gets,
been what?
Mhm.
Yeah, when it gets, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no,
I
go ahead,
see.
please.
So let's again. It's 2016 to now. There must have been a lot of, oh, why am I doing this? Stops and starts, challenges of life,
Yeah,
and clearly you had a mission in your heart that kept you going.
yeah, absolutely. And
But what
mhm.
give us some of those peaks and valleys there.
Okay. The biggest challenge, and that has been consistent, right, has been raising capital. We've managed
Hmm.
to raise capital along the way as we've grown. But there have also been a lot of challenges, right? Something that pops into my head, for example, um, there was a time where we were working on CPR training for clinicians, right? For infant, adult, and child CPR for clinicians to learn how to do this. And I remember approaching a fund and they said, "Oh, that's boring, right?" And then not even a month later, I saw that they had invested 5 million in another company that was doing a baby crusher, where you had these babies that it was a video game with babies, where people were crushing baby heads and stuff like that. And it was like a direct juxtaposition of what we were doing, because I'm like, wow, here we're saving lives, and here is a game that, you know, is actually.
Perfect. That's a good example. So let me
Mhm.
stop you there. Why do you think that is?
Why do I think that they invested in
Yeah,
the
no,
baby
yeah.
crusher?
Yeah. Why do you think? I mean, that something has gone into their head.
Hmm.
Why do you think that is? Because I see a lot of entrepreneurs look at the world from their own lens,
Hmm.
and we all do that. We all see
Hmm.
life through our own set of glasses.
Hmm.
But sometimes changing our position and seeing it from their lens
Hmm.
would teach us something. So why do you think they did that?
Because that was what they were looking for, right? So what that taught me was that I had to find others that are looking for what I have to present, because people have their own agendas, they have their own priorities, they have what has worked for them in the past. And so that just said to me that that wasn't where I needed to be. So I needed to find, my people. Those weren't my people. I needed to find my people. And so that's, basically what I did.
So I always say that there's five pillars to organizations. There's customers and investors and employees and the society and your partner. Those are the five.
Hmm.
And they are the ones actually make a business. We think we sell, in fact they buy, but we don't have any
Hmm.
decisions there.
Hmm.
Excuse me again. So if you look at it, really a business is made by a series of decisions made by others.
Hmm.
Other people decide to invest in you. Other people decide actually to work for you. We
Hmm.
think we give them a job offer, but in reality, they decide how much productivity and creativity they want to bring to the table. Oh, you give me $50,000, that's not enough. I'm going to give you this much productivity. You give me 100, well, I'm worth 200. I'd rather spend at home. Work-life balance is my thing, or oh, creativity, right? They decide.
Hmm.
Investors have their own set of reasons that they decide on things, and some of it is
Hmm.
driven by, for example, the guidelines of their fund. Some of
Hmm.
it is driven by the need to get to some exit because they have to they get 2.5% of the fund and then they don't have enough money. They got to get paid, right?
Hmm.
Some of it is in reality an affinity for a business. So it's not a matter of finding your people, it's finding the reasoning that they would invest. So
Hmm.
if
Hmm.
and that's different. Your people uh, uh, are not necessarily the ones that are aligned with your objective. It's the ones that are aligned with their own. Your deal is aligned with their perspective, if that makes sense.
Right. And that's what I meant by my people, right? Because we ended
Yeah,
up we raised 12 million, and
yeah.
what I meant by my people are the people who are aligned with our
Who's
vision.
correct?
Yes.
Whose reasonings are are aligned
Hmm.
with yours?
Yeah.
Whose reason?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And mhm.
So you've had great traction, 7 million
Mhm.
people. Why do you have a problem raising? Is it traction? Is it continuous? Why do you is it monetization?
No, it's not monetization because we're revenue generating. I think it's just a matter of expanding our network, right? And so we continue to expand our network. And the more people that I speak to, then I decide. So, for example, after having several meetings with the same type of VCs and seeing that that was not going the right way, then I started to look at corporate, VCs also. So Meta, for example, invested in our company. Meta has
Hmm.
invested Microsoft and so on and so forth. So, but at the same time, you have a lot of people also that look for patterns, right? So if they look for patterns and so on and so forth, then you have to be able to go around it because statistically, there are things that are there, right? Statistically, there's only 0.36% of investments that are going, to women, this one, that one, and that one.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
we can't ignore that. But what do you do around that? What we did around that was focus on the places that were working. So we found that our users, especially the celebrities that were using our platform, that valued it enough to invest in it. We also found that our partners, people like Meta, saw our value in the ecosystem enough to say, you know what, we're going to invest in what you're doing. So that has been a lot of the focus. And then today, where we sit is we have people right now we're past the seed investment. Now we're going into growth, and growth capital is tough for everyone, but it's particularly tough when you don't have a lot of the usual suspects, if you will, because we have a pipeline of people, of investors that are waiting for
They're all
certain
looking for
types
a
of
lead.
they're looking for a lead. Exactly. They're looking for a lead. And so then that's so now we're in a different level, right? So we're not in the seed stage where it's like, okay, so now the problem to mitigate is, okay, we were able to get out of the seed stage without the usual suspects, but now at the growth stage, you have a long list of investors that are like, we love what you're doing, we love that you're revenue generating, we love everything that you're doing, but we typically follow people like Andreessen and this one and that one. And since they're not on your cap table, so now it's okay, now we have to find the next type of investors that will be willing to move without, the Andreessens of the world. Yeah.
Yeah, so Mary, I often suggest when people have difficulties and you applied one of the things that I always suggest. I say if somebody's on your platform and they've got money or they're a user of it,
Hmm.
they're your best bet. So you've already done that,
Yeah.
which is wonderful.
Hmm.
The second thing is when people say, "Oh, I if somebody else leads, then I follow." 9 out of 10, it's all due respect, BS. They say that.
Hmm.
Yeah, of course. I would, if Anderson Horowitz is in a deal, I would blindly do it. Not because I understand the deal, not because I add any value, but I'm a dumb investor who would like to put a bet on somebody like Anderson Horowitz. So it's uh, so uh, so if often those leads that you would say that, and there's a bunch of them, now these days it's Sanderson Horowitz, it was Kleiner Perkins once, it was Sequoia, now it was Benchmark. There's a bunch of these people that do that. But not all great deals have actually included them. A lot of them have come later on in the game and have missed some opportunities. Now, the question is, depending on where you are and what you do, there are other opportunities to create or approach funding,
Hmm.
private equity, family offices. You are in the revenue generating mode. And what I'm saying is connecting with some of the things that other people would do. The CVCs are great, but CVCs don't lead either in
Hmm.
general. But they would invest, and sometimes these may not necessarily be an equity investment, it may be a performance investment. So if you could add value, why should you dilute if you can generate value for some entity? Let's
Hmm.
say Johnson and Johnson wants to do something with babies, or any of that. So why should you dilute yourself? This notion that success just comes from Silicon Valley is absolutely nonsense.
Hmm.
A lot of great companies didn't come from there.
Hmm.
So thinking and expanding, and I think you've done that in the past. So my suggestion to you is don't fall into the trap because then you're going to go kiss a lot of frogs. And if they're
Hmm.
not investing, they're the wrong people. Everybody was, yeah, give me a deal that they're in, and they're in for 100 million, and I will put in $500,000. Oh, sure, you know.
Hmm.
So the logic that people and the other thing, not in your case, but in general for the audience's benefit, a lot of people go to VCs and they say, "Oh, I love what you're doing. This is great. This is wonderful. Come back to me and our fund is almost to the end, or are we?" They're I mean they're seeing they want to wait and see if you get an Anderson Horowitz, so then they can jump on it.
Hmm.
Because if they understood what you do, or they have no value add to you, they have no value add to you, because usually what the entrepreneurs think is the money, and I know what to do with it. I know particularly earlier stage ones, but the way
Hmm.
the VCs and the investors look at it is it's not the money, it's what I can add to the deal, because
Hmm.
that's the uh, so if you could flip the lens of evaluation as opposed to who has money to who can influence growth and benefit themselves. So reverse the evaluation of the list of people that you may want to go to, and don't be stuck with giving up equity. Equity is your most valuable thing. Why do you want to give it to some idiot,
Hmm.
right? So that would be a suggestion I may offer to you.
Sounds good. And
So,
I'll definitely take you up on talking more afterwards also.
oh, absolutely, we have this thing about I'd love to talk to the entrepreneurs who take the hot seat, and they honor us by doing so. The community gets benefit from their experiences. I love to talk to you. Just reach out, and let's see if we can explore further on how I can be of help or brainstorm ideas. But
Mhm.
if there's one thing, and again, we have to end exactly at the 59 minutes, or Christine and Trisha will kill me. Um, the if there is one challenge that you started with this notion of the money, what else has been the biggest challenge?
I mean, the capital has been the biggest challenge because we've been very fortunate in terms of attracting talent. Right now, we have, we have a really good team. We have great people that are also looking to join our team. We have a pipeline, that's truly incredible. But the capital has been,
So why
definitely
do we
a
need?
challenge in
I
itself.
I'm going off of time, but let me drill down for a minute. Why do you need the capital? Have you looked at your pricing and revenue generation models with 7 million people? And you just mentioned some of these folks.
Mhm.
Maybe you don't need the capital.
No, we do
Maybe
need the
maybe
capital because we're
to do
integrating. For example, we are teaming up with a company that's working with USC. It's funny. And for upskilling, we need to do integration so that we have several schools that want to use our platform for a lot of emerging careers, especially in semiconductors and in other areas. We have to be able to build out. We have to do the build out. We have to
perfect.
do the
When
integration.
when we talk, if it
Hmm.
has value to them,
Hmm.
there's something called non-recurring engineering fee. If they have value and they see value, if they
Hmm.
see value in your
Hmm.
platform and what they're doing, they can provide funding to you. They
Hmm.
can, and they have the
Hmm.
money. So
Hmm.
when we get in, what I'm saying is there's a lot of ways. I mean, some people say, "Why don't you like cats?" You always use this analogy. I love cats, but there's a thousand ways to skin the cat. But
Hmm.
entrepreneurs have been trained that, oh, if I need integration and I need to do this, the only way to do it is get it from somebody else, apply it over here, and there is a lot of ways that can be explored. So
Hmm.
uh, take that
Sounds good. Sounds
for
good.
what it's worth, and maybe you've already done that, and maybe a little adjustment could make it work better.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've tried a lot of different ways. What we found is a lot of the schools themselves, especially now, are cash strapped. So for them to do a cash outlay, to do integration, but we are also talking to some of the companies that we're upskilling for that are willing to, put some capital into it. We also recently applied for a government program that will invest quite a bit, and we're in the top, 10. So hopefully, with the announcement, we will be
Wonderful.
one of them. Yeah, but we're definitely trying everything. But there is also a window, right? We have an opportunity to
You
become that platform.
Yeah, you
Mhm.
certainly have the tenacity and the commitment, and I have no doubt that water will find its ways. So with
Mhm.
that, Mary, we're at time. I am grateful for your time. I really appreciate it, and I'm grateful for the time that all those folks online have invested with us, and And I hope that you all stay courageous and explore uncertainty as there is innovation and greatness in it.
Thank
Until
you.
next time,
Thank you.
take care.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
It's time to evolve. Download the app by scanning the QR code and join the community that thrives on growth.